Have you ever wondered why an increasing number of older American men are choosing to remain single as they age? In a culture that often emphasizes the importance of companionship and relationships, why is the silent shift towards solitude becoming more prevalent among men aged 55 to 75? In this video, we will explore the multifaceted reasons behind this trend, from evolving perspectives on relationships and financial independence to the complexities of modern dating and personal well-being. Understanding these factors not only sheds light on the personal choices of these men, but also highlights broader societal changes affecting relationships today. By watching until the end, you'll gain valuable insights into how these decisions impact not just individual lives, but also the dynamics of our communities. Whether you're curious about the motivations behind staying single or seeking to support loved ones in their relationship choices, this video provides the comprehensive analysis you need. If you are not subscribed, I recommend subscribing and activating the notification bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support means a lot to me, and if you enjoyed this video, you can help me continue spreading the valuable lessons by liking and sharing it. 1. A clash of personalities. For many older men, the intricacies of navigating relationships with American women can feel like an overwhelming maze. The modern dating world, with its rapidly evolving norms and shifting power dynamics, presents a vastly different landscape than the one they once knew. What was once a more predictable and structured environment, where gender roles were clearly defined and unspoken expectations were understood, has now given way to a new era. One where women, particularly those of the same age group, are asserting their independence, claiming their voices, and carving their paths. While these traits are undoubtedly empowering and admirable, for men who grew up in a more traditional, less fluid social environment, they can also feel like a foreign and intimidating force. Men in their 50s, 60s, and 70s often find themselves caught between the old world they are familiar with and the new world that feels increasingly alien. These women, many of whom have spent decades building successful careers, raising families, and managing their lives with fierce autonomy, exude confidence and clarity in ways that can be difficult for older men to navigate. For men who were raised in an era where women were expected to be more passive or deferential, the assertiveness, directness, and boldness that characterize many modern women can seem overwhelming, even confrontational. These women do not hesitate to express their opinions, articulate their needs, and demand respect on their terms, leaving little room for the quiet, more subtle forms of communication that older men are accustomed to. As a result, these interactions can leave older men feeling disoriented, frustrated, and unsure of their place in the dating world. The confidence and unyielding nature of the modern woman can make them question their relevance, their worthiness, and their ability to connect. For some, the sense of being out of sync with these women creates an emotional distance that becomes hard to bridge. The thought of entering a relationship where opinions clash so openly, where emotions are laid bare so freely, and where communication is often raw and unfiltered can be daunting, to say the least. After years of hard work, personal growth, and managing the complexities of their own lives, many older men simply long for peace, simplicity, and companionship. They crave harmony, where understanding flows effortlessly, and differences are gently navigated. The idea of entering a relationship that demands constant negotiation of personalities, where emotional strain lurks around every corner, seems like a daunting burden. They may feel that they've earned the right to a quieter, more stable chapter of life, far removed from the sharp, often brash exchanges that characterize many modern relationships. For these men, the thought of embracing the directness and emotional intensity of women today feels like a challenge they are not ready, or willing, to face. The emotional labor required to understand, accept, and adapt to these modern dynamics might feel like an impossible task, one that takes more than they are willing to give at this stage in their lives. 2. The comfort of solitude. The peace and solace of a single life is not merely an escape from the complexities of relationships. It is a profound embrace of the unparalleled freedom and quiet joy that comes with solitude. After years of relentless work, raising families, and weathering the unpredictable storms of life, many men arrive at a deeply satisfying moment of contentment with their own company. They've navigated the roller coaster of emotional highs and crushing lows, and now, they find solace in the simplicity of being alone. There's a serene sense of autonomy that only single life can offer, the unspoken luxury of watching whatever they desire on television without the need to compromise, the quiet satisfaction of drifting to sleep at their own pace, and the freedom to live completely on their terms, without the constant negotiations or compromises required in a relationship. For these men, solitude isn't a void to be filled, but a sanctuary, a space of clarity and self-empowerment. The idea of catering to someone else's needs, thoughts, and feelings feels distant, almost unnecessary, as they relish the serenity of having no one to answer to. In this life, they are kings of their domain, free from the entanglements of emotional labor that relationships so often demand. For many, a loyal pet, often a dog, becomes the faithful companion who offers unconditional love and comfort, yet without the complexities or emotional intensity of a human relationship. The bond they share with their pets is simple yet profound, filled with the unspoken understanding that each day is just a quiet celebration of shared existence. These pets, without question, provide a source of companionship that feels both genuine and uncomplicated. To these men, being single is not a reflection of loneliness or bitterness, but rather a deliberate choice, a conscious decision to seek peace, predictability, and contentment. They have already weathered the storms of love, loss, and heartache. The highs and lows of past relationships are now distant echoes, replaced by the calming rhythm of a life lived on their terms. The solitude they've chosen is not an absence but a fullness, a space where they can finally breathe deeply and savor the comfort of living in harmony with themselves. They have built lives that are uniquely their own, and they are in no rush to change anything. The quiet joys of a single life, of embracing one's own company, are enough. In this tranquility, they found a rare and cherished peace. 3. Limited dating options. For men living in smaller towns or rural areas across the United States, the challenges of finding a meaningful connection can feel overwhelming and isolating. Geographic and social barriers often limit their dating options in profound ways, leaving them with a sense of frustration and loneliness. In these areas, the pool of available women is significantly smaller, and the opportunities to meet potential partners are few and far between. Unlike the vibrant, bustling social scenes of urban environments, where diverse activities, social clubs, and dating events create endless possibilities for connection, rural settings can feel stifling, suffocating even. Men in these communities may find themselves yearning for a chance to meet someone who shares their passions, interests, and values, but these opportunities are hard to come by. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 1 below to let me know that you are still here with me. In many cases, the very environment these men live in offers little support for forming relationships. Without the bustling nightlife, cultural events, or even a variety of community-based activities, meeting new people, let alone someone who might become a potential partner, feels like an impossible task. As time goes on, the sense of isolation grows, and the hope of finding someone who resonates with their emotional and intellectual needs fades into the background. This isolation can be emotionally draining, making men feel as though they are trapped in a cycle of loneliness. Even when potential connections do arise, they may not align with what these men are truly seeking. The women in these areas may not share their desires, dreams, or even their lifestyle. This mismatch can stem from age differences, differing life stages, or simply incompatible values. Many men in this age group find themselves desiring women who are outside of their immediate social or geographic circles, women with whom they feel a genuine connection could flourish. However, these women may be uninterested for a variety of reasons. The age gap, different life priorities, or simply a lack of shared experiences. This discouraging reality reinforces the belief that their chances of finding a meaningful relationship are slim, leading them to retreat into themselves. Over time, the idea of remaining single starts to feel like the safer, more comfortable option. An option that, though lonely, shields them from the pain of constant rejection and dashed hopes. 4. Financial independence, prioritizing stability and control. For many older men, particularly those between the ages of 55 and 75, financial independence emerges as a cornerstone in their decision to remain single. After decades of painstakingly building their savings, weathering financial storms, and painstakingly recovering from the scars of past setbacks, such as painful divorces or the ever-daunting challenges of retirement planning, the idea of risking the fruits of their labor becomes overwhelmingly daunting. The haunting memories of previous financial losses, the loss of homes, pensions, and ongoing alimony payments, continue to cast a shadow over their decisions. For these men, their financial security represents not just wealth but the culmination of years of resilience and hard-won victories. The thought of opening themselves up to the uncertainties of a new relationship, and potentially jeopardizing the stability they have fought so fiercely to regain, evokes a deep sense of vulnerability. The very notion of inheriting a partner's debts, from overwhelming credit card bills, burdensome loans, or crippling medical expenses, adds another layer of fear. These financial entanglements could unravel the delicate security they've painstakingly nurtured, throwing them back into a cycle of stress and instability that they are no longer willing to endure. Moreover, the autonomy that comes with financial independence is something these men cherish deeply. The freedom to decide how to spend their hard-earned money, whether it's indulging in enriching hobbies, embarking on spontaneous travels, or safeguarding a meaningful legacy for their children, grants them a profound sense of empowerment. In contrast, relationships often carry the heavy burden of shared financial obligations, and the prospect of navigating this responsibility can feel suffocating. Many men, having reached a place of peaceful self-sufficiency, are no longer willing to sacrifice that for the sake of partnership. At its core, financial independence offers these men more than just a stable bank account. It provides them with an unparalleled sense of control and security in a world that often feels unpredictable and out of their grasp. The peace of mind that comes from managing their finances on their terms, without the risks and complexities of a relationship, outweighs the potential emotional rewards of companionship. For these men, the stability and control they hold over their own lives are priceless. Deciding to remain single is not just an option, but a source of quiet strength and profound fulfillment. The idea of being able to face the future unburdened by the complications of shared financial responsibilities becomes an almost sacred priority, making the prospect of a solitary life far more appealing than the potential upheavals of a relationship. 5. Emotional wounds. For many older men, the painful erosion of self-confidence in dating, after years, sometimes even decades, of silence and solitude, creates a suffocating wall that stands between them and the possibility of new relationships. Time, with all its cruel twists, has a way of leaving deep emotional scars. What was once a confident, even fearless approach to romance is now just a distant echo of what was. The men who once felt the rush of excitement and possibility in the realm of love and companionship now find themselves paralyzed by uncertainty, questioning their worth and their place in a world that seems to have moved on without them. Their hearts, though still yearning for connection, have been wounded by the passing years, and the idea of stepping into the world of dating feels not just daunting, but emotionally overwhelming. The carefree confidence they had in their youth has slipped away like sand through their fingers, replaced by a haunting sense of self-doubt that clings to them with an almost suffocating grip. The landscape of modern dating, a world dominated by technology, fast-paced interactions, and a shifting social dynamic, feels completely foreign to them. What used to come naturally now feels painfully awkward and complicated. Each potential interaction is met with a paralyzing fear of judgment. How do they begin again? How do they reach out to someone they might want to share their heart with when their self-esteem is so battered? For these men, even the simplest social exchanges, especially with women, are fraught with discomfort and self-consciousness. The art of flirtation, the subtle dance of getting to know someone in a romantic context, now feels like a foreign language they've forgotten how to speak. The fear of rejection hovers over them like a dark cloud, always threatening to rain down on their fragile hopes. The mere idea of being dismissed, of being seen as too old, too out of touch, or too flawed, feels like an insurmountable hurdle. The crushing weight of this fear often prevents them from even attempting to connect, leaving them with nothing but regret and a sense of missed opportunities. This lack of confidence is not just about the fear of rejection, but also about the profound fear of judgment. Many older men find themselves battling the anxiety of being scrutinized, whether for their age, their appearance, or the lifestyle they've built over the years. They wonder if they can ever be seen as desirable, as worthy of affection, in a world that often prizes youth and physical beauty above all else. The pain of these insecurities runs deep, and it's not just about romance. It spills over into their ability to socialize and connect with others, even with their peers. They find themselves feeling increasingly alienated, unsure of how to engage in conversations that once felt effortless and natural. The longer they go without practice, the more isolated they become until the very thought of entering the dating world feels like an overwhelming, impossible task. This vicious cycle of self-doubt and isolation takes on a life of its own, one that is difficult to break. Each failed attempt to connect, each instance where they feel invisible or dismissed, only deepens their sense of rejection, reinforcing the belief that they are no longer worthy of love or companionship. The world around them continues to shift, while they remain stuck, frozen in a place where loneliness and longing slowly erode their spirit. What could have been a journey of self-discovery, new relationships, and joy, instead becomes a prison of emotional wounds, where the door to new beginnings seems locked, and the key remains just out of reach. The overwhelming fear of emotional vulnerability, the possibility of giving their heart to someone and having it shattered, becomes all-consuming. For many of these men, the idea of opening up to someone new, of allowing themselves to dream again, feels like an unbearable risk. And so they retreat further, locked in a cycle of isolation, their hearts still aching for the love they fear they'll never find. The longer they stay away from the dating world, the harder it becomes to break free from the chains of self-doubt, and the deeper the emotional wounds cut into their very being. 6. Health challenges. The impact of aging on relationships is a complex and often heart-wrenching journey, one that many men face with a quiet sense of resignation and unspoken fear. As the years pass, the physical and emotional toll of growing older can be overwhelming. Men in their 60s and 70s frequently experience a gradual but relentless decline in health, which can affect not only their bodies but their very sense of self. Chronic conditions like diabetes, heart disease, arthritis, or mobility issues become an inescapable part of their lives. The strain of these health problems does more than just weaken their physical resilience. It chips away at their confidence, leaving them feeling less capable and more vulnerable. The man who was once strong, vibrant, and independent may now find himself struggling to keep up with the simple tasks of daily life. This change can stir deep feelings of helplessness, and for many, it stirs a painful self-doubt, leading them to wonder if they are still worthy of love and affection. For some men, these health issues may cause them to feel unattractive, even repulsive. The physical decline, the slowing of their movements, the visible signs of aging, may lead them to perceive themselves as less desirable, unworthy of the kind of intimate affection they once shared so freely. The very thought of being seen as a burden to their partner can be emotionally crippling. Men who once felt in control of their lives may find themselves grappling with an overwhelming sense of powerlessness, feeling like their health is a wall between them and the person they care for. This can lead them to withdraw, to retreat inward, fearful that their partner's love will falter or fade as their health continues to deteriorate. For many, the simple joy of intimacy is overshadowed by the constant weight of health concerns. In addition to these physical struggles, many older men also experience a significant shift in their libido, as the natural aging process alters the body in ways that no amount of willpower can prevent. For some, the hormones that once fueled their desire for physical intimacy begin to ebb away, leaving them feeling disconnected from the passion they once took for granted. Medications, too, can play a destructive role in this shift, further lowering their interest in sex and romantic engagement. In some cases, this decline in libido is not seen as a loss, but rather a quiet acceptance that intimacy no longer holds the same priority in their lives. Where once their sexual energy was vibrant and sought after, now it may feel like a distant memory. Yet this change does not always lead to loneliness. For many men, the need for sexual intimacy diminishes in favor of other forms of companionship. The warmth of a friend's voice, the comfort of a pet nestled at their feet, or the camaraderie of a group of close friends can fill the emotional void left by the decline in romantic desire. There is solace in these platonic relationships, where expectations are lighter and the pressures of physical intimacy are absent. Men in this age group often come to find peace in these simpler, quieter connections, as they no longer feel the need to chase fleeting moments of passion. For some, the mere idea of maintaining a romantic relationship while grappling with their health concerns feels overwhelming, perhaps even insurmountable. The burden of managing one's physical well-being, coupled with the complexities of aging, is enough to shift their focus inward. They may choose instead to preserve their independence and autonomy, finding comfort in solitude or in non-romantic relationships that allow them to continue living with dignity and self-respect. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 2 below to let me know that you are still here with me. In truth, the notion of romantic love and intimacy for older men becomes fraught with complexity. It is no longer a carefree pursuit. Instead, it is tangled with the realities of aging, health, and the inevitable passage of time. Many men, facing the weight of their health challenges, choose not to navigate this difficult terrain, preferring instead to focus on what they can control, maintaining their health, safeguarding their independence, and seeking companionship in ways that do not demand so much of their already strained resources. The emotional landscape of aging is marked by a quiet longing for connection, tempered by the wisdom and acceptance that come with the years. For many, this is the most peaceful way to navigate the final chapters of their lives, finding meaning, comfort, and even joy, without the complex expectations of romantic love. 7. Family dynamics. The complexities of step-family dynamics often present formidable obstacles, especially for older men considering entering a new romantic relationship. Dating at this stage of life isn't merely about connecting with someone new. It involves learning to navigate a web of emotional, psychological, and interpersonal challenges. For many women in this age group, their children are either young adults or teenagers, and the emotional bonds they share with their parents, particularly their mothers, are well established and, at times, deeply intertwined with their own identities. The idea of introducing a new partner into this delicate ecosystem can be daunting, as it often requires more than just finding common ground with a new romantic interest. It involves merging into a family structure that is already firmly set, where each individual has their routines, expectations, and, sometimes, emotional scars. For these children, especially those still living at home, the presence of a new partner in their mother's life can trigger an overwhelming sense of displacement. Many of them may view this person as a potential threat to their relationship with their mother, a disruption to the comfort and stability they've known for years. The idea of a new figure, especially a man, entering the family unit can create a sense of insecurity and even resentment. They might question their place in the family, or fear that their mother's emotional investment in someone new could diminish her attention, affection, or time spent with them. This emotional upheaval can manifest in a variety of ways, from passive resistance to outright hostility. When the new partner is viewed as an outsider, someone who doesn't share in the family's history or experiences, the walls between them can feel almost insurmountable. This growing tension can put immense strain on the relationship between the older man and his partner, often creating a situation where he feels unwelcome or like an intruder in his partner's home. The constant emotional pushback from stepchildren, whether it's through subtle passive aggressiveness or more confrontation, can erode a sense of belonging and create an environment of discomfort. For men who are already emotionally cautious, those who may have been burned in past relationships or who are uncertain about their ability to step into a new chapter of their emotional lives, the idea of dealing with resistant or unwelcoming children can be a deal breaker. The fear of rejection, of never truly being accepted into the family fold, can make the whole endeavor feel like an emotional minefield. Adding to the difficulty is the fact that stepchildren often come with their own complex set of emotional needs, unresolved issues, and even financial dependencies, all of which can further complicate the dynamic. These children are often at pivotal stages in their lives, facing the emotional turbulence of adolescence, the challenges of adulthood, or the uncertainty of their futures, and the introduction of a new parental figure can seem like yet another source of instability in their already uncertain world. For men who have already raised their children or those who have no desire to assume the role of a stepfather, these added responsibilities can be overwhelming. The sense of being thrust into a situation with high emotional stakes, without the bonds of shared history or the familiarity that comes with years of parenting, can feel isolating and even impossible to navigate. The emotional weight of it all, balancing the hopes of a new romantic relationship with the often fraught, emotionally charged interactions with stepchildren, can make the very thought of dating someone with children feel more like a burden than a blessing. The fear of getting caught between the conflicting needs of a partner and her children, of not being able to fulfill the expectations that come with the role of a stepfather, can create an emotional paralysis that prevents men from even considering the possibility of moving forward. In this delicate dance of emotions, where love, fear, and longing collide, the reality of becoming part of someone else's established family can often seem insurmountable. For many older men, this sense of emotional overload is simply too much to bear, leaving them to walk away from the possibility of love, rather than face the intense pressures of integrating into a family that may not fully embrace them. 8. Painful past relationships. The haunting aftermath of divorce, particularly when it strikes later in life, can become a soul-crushing turning point for men, often leaving emotional and psychological scars that can take years, if not a lifetime, to heal. For many older men, the pain of a broken marriage is not something that fades with time. Instead, it lingers in the deepest corners of their hearts, shaping their views on love, trust, and relationships in ways they could never have anticipated. The loss of a long-term partner, someone they have shared their dreams, their struggles, and their life with, can feel like the death of a part of themselves. The devastation is not just in the dissolution of a union, but in the destruction of the shared history, the shattered vision of the future they had carefully built, and the painful realization that the person they once relied on may no longer be there to hold them up. The emotional wreckage left in the wake of such a divorce is profound. These men are often left feeling isolated, abandoned, and unsure of who they are outside of the roles they once played as husbands, fathers, and providers. They may wrestle with feelings of worthlessness or failure, questioning their ability to love or be loved again. Divorce often strips away the very foundation of a man's identity, especially for those who defined much of their self-worth through their commitment to their family. The sense of betrayal is not just about losing a spouse, but about losing a part of themselves, a part that may never fully be restored. It's as if a once sturdy part of their life has crumbled, leaving behind a void that's hard to fill. And yet, perhaps the most painful blow is the financial devastation that often accompanies a divorce. For many men, especially those who have spent decades building their financial security, the sudden loss of assets, the necessity of paying alimony, or the heartbreaking sight of a pension dwindling can feel like the ultimate betrayal. These financial wounds aren't just about numbers. They represent years of hard work, sacrifices, and dreams deferred. A man who has dedicated his life to providing for his family, only to see it all slip away in a matter of months, can feel as though everything he worked for has been ripped from his grasp, leaving him with nothing but regret and a deep sense of injustice. The very foundation of financial stability, something that once provided peace of mind, is now a reminder of what was lost, a constant source of anxiety and sorrow. For men who have spent their entire adult lives working to build something secure, the financial consequences of divorce can feel like a cruel and bitter betrayal of the trust they placed in their partner, their marriage, and their future. The loss of a home, once filled with memories and dreams, can be especially brutal. A house that was once a sanctuary, a symbol of safety and love, is suddenly reduced to a painful reminder of what's been taken away. Watching one's hard-earned savings dwindle as the demands of alimony and child support continue to mount can feel like being robbed of one's dignity and peace of mind. The combined emotional and financial toll can leave many men hesitant, even terrified, to enter the dating world again. Divorce isn't just about the loss of a partner. It's the loss of a sense of self, the loss of the identity they once found in their role as a husband and a provider. After experiencing such deep trauma, the idea of risking another emotional or financial loss can feel almost unbearable. The fear of opening up to someone again, only to face the possibility of being hurt or betrayed once more, becomes a constant weight on their heart. Many come to believe that the pain of love is not worth the risk, and the thought of trusting someone else, only to watch everything unravel again, feels like a nightmare they cannot bear to live through. As a result, these men often conclude that they are better off alone, convincing themselves that they can no longer afford to take the emotional or financial risks of another relationship. It's not simply a decision to avoid the heartbreak, it's a defense mechanism, a way of protecting themselves from further damage. The scars from their past are so deep that the idea of reopening themselves to someone new is an overwhelming and frightening thought. They may shut down emotionally, unwilling or unable to open their hearts again, convinced that the pain of love is too much to bear. In this way, the impact of divorce stretches far beyond the event itself, reverberating through every part of their lives, and casting a long shadow over their future. 9. Considering the future. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 3 below to let me know that you are still here with me. As men navigate the complex journey of life, the shadow of loneliness in old age looms ever closer, often haunting their thoughts as they make the conscious choice to remain single. While many embrace their solitary existence with contentment, there is an undeniable, often unspoken, reality that tugs at the edges of their confidence: the inevitable passage of time. Aging is not just a biological process. It is an emotional and physical challenge that brings with it the haunting possibility of isolation. As they grow older, the once steadfast independence they held so dearly begins to fray. The likelihood of facing health struggles, diminishing mobility, or the quiet surrender to frailty becomes increasingly probable. Even the most self-sufficient men, who once prided themselves on their autonomy, may find themselves confronting a stark and vulnerable truth, that one day they will need help. The simple tasks that once required no second thought, such as managing medications, preparing meals, or even getting out of bed, can suddenly feel insurmountable without the steady presence of someone by their side. The idea of facing this inevitable future completely alone can be overwhelming, a weight that grows heavier with each passing day. Even those who have thrived in their solitude, who have built entire worlds of independence and self-reliance, may find themselves quietly questioning whether it was all worth it. The simple, yet profound, yearning for human connection. Someone to share the highs and lows of life with, someone to lean on in moments of weakness, becomes impossible to ignore as the years on. And while the present may seem full of freedom and the luxury of choice, the stark reality of aging can force men to confront what once seemed like a distant concern. The thought of spending their final years without the warmth and comfort of a partner can be an unsettling and profound shift in perspective. For many, the idea of romantic love may seem unnecessary or irrelevant now, an afterthought in a life full of achievements, independence, and personal peace. But as time marches on, the needs of the heart and body begin to evolve. The aching desire for companionship, the need for emotional intimacy, and the comfort of having someone nearby to weather the storms of old age become not just luxuries but vital. The partner who once seemed dispensable can, in the later stages of life, become an anchor, a source of strength in a world that feels increasingly fragile. Unfortunately, for some men, this realization comes too late, when the prospect of finding love or meaningful companionship feels more like a fleeting dream than an attainable goal. They may find themselves navigating the twilight of their years, not surrounded by the bonds they once took for granted, but rather facing the cold silence of solitude, perhaps too late to change the course they once chose so confidently. It's a delicate balancing act, holding on to the independence, autonomy, and inner peace that comes with living alone, while also coming to terms with a deep, human need for connection, support, and love that will inevitably accompany the challenges of aging. It's a painful acknowledgement that life, in all its beauty, also requires the presence of others to truly be lived fully. As we reflect on the thoughts shared today, we've explored the complexities of solitude, aging, and the unexpected emotional challenges that come with time. From the comfort of independence to the realization of our deeper future needs, we've uncovered truths that may not always be easy to face but are essential for personal growth. So, what have you learned so far? How has this message resonated with you? I invite you to take a moment and reflect on one key insight you've gained from this discussion. Is there something new that has shifted your perspective or inspired you to take action? Please, share your thoughts in the comments below. What's one thing you've learned that you'll bring into your own life moving forward? If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave your comments, like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more insightful content. Thank you for being part of this journey. Until next time, take care and stay connected.